Bobby had an amazing ride in Wired for Freedom. You remember when early on, unexpectedly, she rewired that survival circuit of the drive to overeat, and then what happened is the drive to stay heavy came up. And that was all attached with all that early trauma that she had, all of those disconnections, all that permissiveness and deprivation. You see, they work like a teeter-totter. So if we've been deprived, we're going to have to balance it by indulging. And then back to deprivation, back and forth and back and forth. And that was her pattern. Also, her pattern was to numb out, which meant it was harder to actually enliven her emotions at times. And it takes enlivening the emotions to zap those circuits. So she was very committed to getting wired at 1. And the process would need to be to first go in and have a planning session and figure out just trace her whole history and say, you know, what's contributing to this? For each contributor, what can we do to help? And what's a reasonable care plan for moving forward and getting wired at 1? And then get in a community, get in a group, and have a coach and just go forward. Her biggest accomplishment, what she came in for, remember, was vibrancy. And she felt more vibrant. She was getting joy points, she was exercising, she even started to dance. She also found that her other accomplishment was with her husband. Remember the time when she said no to him, and the fact that her husband was starting to get healthier too, because of her choice to stay in her own integrity, to stay really connected with herself and say, that's the limit for me, that's the limit. So her challenge now was going to be to say, look, there's this big piece of emotional trash, all these circuits here. And I do tend to go numb, so I'm going to have to practice these tools over time until they begin to have a life within me and begin to be natural. So she needed to get in a group, get a coach, have a planning session, and keep her eye on being wired at 1. And having not just one of the rewards, but all of them, including freedom from the whole range of common excesses. So she'd done a great job, she was off and running, and Wired for Freedom did just what she needed it to do, which was to give her kind of a whole bunch of these tools to get off and running with the method.